Everyone thinks I'm daydreaming in class. They think I'm just lazy. But nobody knows that a war is raging inside my brain. And I can't switch it off. It's not that I don't want to hear it, but the world is too noisy.
Art, X-person, 3-day challenge, video production, others, speak. Why do you listen carefully? Why did you listen carefully?
Problem. So ADHD is actually a neurodevelopmental conditions. So it's not, for general publics, they actually thinks that is having too much energy or they are not paying attention. A way to think about what is ADHD is like having a brain with an inconsistent attention control system. So the challenge isn't that the person cannot focus. It's more towards that they have difficulty regulating where and when their attention actually goes. In general, so ADHD is more towards it's less about lack of ability and more about difficulty managing attentions, impulses, emotions, and also organizations. Some people actually misconcept about ADHD is they are just lazy, they are not having discipline enough, or even they are looking for excuses, or naughty boys or those naughty kids have ADHDs. So, but the reality is actually much more complex because most individuals with ADHD actually work much harder than others just to achieve the same outcome, like the neurotypical individuals. So the efforts put in more energy planning, remembering tasks, managing all the distractions, and regulating their emotions simultaneously. So another misconception is that ADHD only affects children, but in reality, ADHD often continues into adulthood. And although some symptoms may change over time, but it's still difficult and struggle for them as well. But instead of assuming someone is irresponsible, we have the tendency, we can choose to become more curiosity. For example, instead of saying like, why haven't you done your part? We might ask, is there anything making this task difficult? How can we work around it together? So simple support can make a very huge differences, like giving the clear instructions, breaking the task into a smaller task, sending reminder without any judgments, or being patient when someone needs clarifications. So support doesn't mean that to lower down your expectations. It means creating fair opportunity for everyone to success in the same pace. So when we talk about emotional intelligence, right? So one skills that is actually recognizing is that the feedback is not just about what we say, but towards, I always believe, is how this is being received. Focusing on the behavior rather than labeling the person itself. So having a very supportive communication, acknowledge that both their strengths and challenges, while creating this because psychological safety for learning and improvement will be very important for them, and also allow the message can be delivered in a more appropriate way. I would say that ADHD actually explains some of your challenges, but it is definitely not defines who you are and your potentiality. So many people actually spend years blaming for themselves for those data difficulty they never fully understood. So receiving an ADHD diagnosis is not about finding an excuse. It's just about finding explanations to your conditions or to your challenges, to your life. Once we understand how our brains work, we can actually stop fighting against it and start building strategies that actually work with it. Needing support doesn't mean that you are a weak person. It's just that you are learning to work with your brain rather than constantly actually judging it as well. So in conclusion, ADHD is not a problem of knowing what to do. More often, it's just a challenge of constantly doing what you already know. Understand the differences may help us to replace the judgment with our better support.